Good morning, you guys. It is Amanda and Barron with Kicking Cancer Cares on KSLM Radio, 104.3 FM and 1220 AM. Our sponsor for this first half is Oddmo's Pizza. Huge shout out to Oddmo's. Actually, just the other day, my husband was like, I'm craving some pineapple pizza. So I ended up getting what they call the sweet spot. So it's extra Canadian bacon, extra pineapple, extra cheese, and extra bacon, breakfast bacon with their red sauce. And then I wanted the barbecue chicken, which is their bull rider. And I said, please hold the pineapple because pineapple does not belong on pizza.
I was going to say, you don't like the pineapple, so
no,
that's not your favorite one.
No, but the bull rider was so good. The barbecue chicken, oh my gosh, it was delicious. And then my husband was absolutely in love with their sweet spot Hawaiian pizza.
So did you do a half and half, or did you get two pizzas?
I did two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two pizzas.
Mm-hmm. I've got teenage boys in the house.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
We did two, for sure.
Yeah.
So huge shout out to Mike and Oddmo's Pizza. Absolutely amazing pizza. Best in town, hands down.
Been a great sponsor for us this whole time.
Yeah, he has. He really has. Yeah. And for the community in general, he really is a pillar out there. So yes. I really enjoy him.
Well, this has been kind of exciting because last week our guest was a board member.
Yes.
And this week our guest is a board member.
Yes.
So we're gonna. But last week Ashley was with us and had some great information about adaptogens.
Yes, and just how everything kind of goes with one another, and it was a really informational episode. I really enjoyed it. I like information like that we can apply to our lives to just be better and healthier versions of ourselves.
Well, I know that some of the shorts that she's created are getting a lot of views, so I think people do want to hear the tips.
Yeah.
What can they do to be healthier?
Yeah.
So we had a great conversation with Ashley last week.
Yes.
And I think you might know this, Cheryl, but we've been going through this magazine the second time, and our tip for this week, our food is basil.
Oh, yes.
Are you a fan of using basil?
Yeah,
I love it.
I grew it this summer.
Did you?
I did too, yeah.
Did it grow well?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I really struggled, let's be honest, but
it does require water.
It started flowering. I'm like, oh, that's cool. My grandma's like, no, you don't want it to flower. You got to pinch that off. And I'm like, oh, okay. So.
Yeah.
Well, Cheryl has a big farm, so you can get any tips you need from Cheryl.
Yes,
farm.
yes. But I did grow it and use it with tomato sauce and all the stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
my pasta
I'm a huge
sauce.
fan of the smell of basil as well.
So great. And we love just getting them fresh, packing the leaves into Ziploc bags, throw it in the freezer.
Oh.
And then it's done, like it's dealt with in the busy season.
Yep.
And then the winter, just make pesto out of it.
Okay.
But you have to blend it in the blender when it's frozen. The leaves are frozen.
Oh,
and then add the oil in there, and then you can just pack it away, and you have fresh pesto from the leaves all year long.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. That's cool.
There's a tip for you.
Yeah,
there you go.
yes. And guinea pigs love it.
What?
They do.
Well, the Disease Fighting Foods magazine says that this beloved herb is as good for your body as it is for a fresh tomato sauce. Basil contains antioxidants like linoleic acid that fight antioxidant stress, and lab study suggests that it may even play a role in slowing cancers of the breast and colon.
Okay.
This staple of Italian and Chinese cooking may be a long life food too.
Okay.
So when you look at the age of the people in Italy and China, and so yeah.
Okay, I love it.
So good stuff there.
Yes.
Well, our update is actually going to be a good part of our show because last week I mentioned that we had done our Go Team for Corvallis, and Cheryl had met some people. We're going to get deeper into that in the second half of the show, but I'm going to let her tell you how they're doing and how well the event went.
Okay.
But I'd love in the first half of the show just to kind of let people know how Cheryl and I met, which has been 7 years ago, I think.
Years.
Wow.
Years. About that.
Yeah. And then kind of how that all bled into you wanting to help one of your friends. So we were going to decide this common networking event that there's a gentleman in town that did, and we were just there and got to know each other at that event, remember? And then you came up to me, I think it was...
You were hard to miss in the bright pink t-shirts.
Yeah.
That was the only color you had for a while there, and so it was really fun to see. I'm like, there's Barron and the pink... It's the pink t-shirt guy. That's actually in my mind how I had you first.
Well, that's all I had back then was pink t-shirts.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That bright pink t-shirt was hard to miss.
Yeah, totally awesome.
Yeah. And then kind of walk listeners, because we did have Rachel come on and tell her story. How do you know Rachel, and how did that all transpire?
Yeah, well, I met Rachel through a mutual friend, and that mutual friend, when we found out that Rachel had cancer, our friend was like, we've got to do something for Rachel. We just got to do something for her. And I didn't know what to do. Like, what do you do when someone's fighting cancer? Like, what do you do when, like, you think about bringing a meal to them or something, and I'm not a cook. I was like, what do you do to help these people? And so, we just weren't sure, and that was when we saw Barron like kicking cancer. Well, what did they do? I don't know what they do, but they're doing something. And so this friend Juliana, and we were like, we got to do something. So we came to you and said, like, Barron, what can we do for our friend Rachel? And that's when we started, finding out we could do something. And that's often what happens with families that are supporting people, or friends that are supporting friends fighting cancer, is that you want to do something, but you just don't know what to do.
Yeah, I remember driving down to Corvallis, and we sat in this little coffee shop, you and I and Juliana, said, well, what could we do to support her? And I think she was really heavily in the fight at that time. She was doing a lot of the chemo stuff. And so then we began organizing a walk down there in Corvallis. And I just love that I didn't have any connections in Corvallis, but you did. And so then you began piecing that together. How did you make that walk happen?
It's a really good question. Well, the one really great thing was your weekly support calls. So I don't know if I was on your calendar, like call in Cheryl, help me out, or whatever it is. Eventually we just schedule a Wednesday morning meeting. That's all I remember. And then we would check in. But around the walk, I had helped out with other events around Corvallis. The Da Vinci Days is a Grand Kinetic Challenge. So I kind of knew a little bit about, you're going to need people at this corner, this person. So I knew a little bit about route management a bit. Right. And I've done a lot of events. Like, I've been community organizer for years, so I knew a lot about putting events together. So again, how can you help? Like, I'm not going to cook a bunch of meals for you, but I could organize an event. It's something I can do.
Sure.
So that's where we just started to say, well, here, what's the actual physical route we could take that's a reasonable walk, not miles and miles, but something that was near the event that we wanted to have the education portion around. Yeah. That's how I remember it happening.
Well, and we pulled together a flyer, and it basically said to bring a team.
Yep.
And so we gave people options, like, if you want to bring a team and you want to do these colored shirts. And that was really how those first set of shirts came about, is because all I had was pink, right?
Yeah.
And so we said, well, let's do some yellow shirts for Rachel.
Bone cancer.
For the bone cancer. And that Danny Warren came, and she wanted to pull a team together. And, of course, we didn't want two yellows because her husband, James, had bone cancer, too. So she said, well, his favorite color was blue. Yeah. So we had a blue one, We had another little group that had pink ones, and so we had 3 different colors walking around that course.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you've always said, I think we can see Skittles walking down the road. Skittles.
Yes.
I was always the same. So so that's really how it started. And it gave an opportunity for people in Rachel's life to support, like not only myself and Juliana, but other people and Ross at Horton's Auto Repair, which is Robert's boss. So Rachel's husband's boss had an opportunity to contribute. Other people had an opportunity to contribute.
Yeah.
And she was still in her wheelchair when we did that walk.
Yep.
But did her mom and dad show up at the walk too, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and relationships were a little tough before. But again, parents don't know what to do. What do you do when your kid has cancer? How do you help? And so her dad pushing her in the wheelchair was actually quite symbolic in many ways.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And her kids pushing her too.
Yeah, totally. It was so great. Yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of catapulted you into, well, how can we raise some money? And again, I didn't have connections in the Corvallis area, but I said, restaurants quite often are good about donating a percentage of the proceeds.
Yes. Yeah.
And so then you found a restaurant on there that was
and I don't even know how we found them. But no, I think I do. Because, again, Ross at Horton's Auto Repair, super supportive of the family, obviously, because Robert's one of his best employees. And across the road was the Angry Beaver Bar and Grill.
Right.
And the gentleman that owned that was good friends with Ross, and so they started talking about, like, what could we do for the family kind of thing. And that's how we found that location.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I always was wondering how you found that location.
Exactly. Yeah, we were like, how do we find, because I had never been in the restaurant before either. But then when you have an Angry Beaver, because it's Corvallis, Beavers, Oregon State, right? And then you have the Angry Donkey. it becomes the Angry Beaver meets the Angry Donkey at a dinner and disco fundraiser.
That's
so that was
cool.
just fun. It was like, you gotta have fun.
And I
Cool
think you
quirk and twist
Yeah,
to it.
exactly.
it was just a really good twist on the whole play of the names there too.
Yeah.
And we really filled the place up that day too. So many of her friends or your friends showed up at that.
And people just eating in the restaurant. Remember, there was some people that were just there and they joined in on the fun. And
That's cool.
yeah.
Because it was basically from like I think 5 o'clock until 8 o'clock, and so people who came in just to eat there, all of a sudden they're like, "What are we in the middle of?"
Yeah.
You know.
Like, we want to participate.
Yeah.
We want to join in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's silent auction, raise some money through that.
Do you remember some of the items that you had in that side auction?
It was fascinating. Randy, who owned the Angry Beaver at that point, he had gathered, it was like he was living for this day. He had gathered all sorts of wild things, and most of them he gathered, donated, like old bottles of wine, assigned, was it a football or basketball?
I think it was assigned football.
Football from OSU, from one of the OSU players, and there was just neat things that he had gathered along the way, and then we gathered some other donations and
Yeah,
whatnot.
I think we had some like some trips on the coast, to go out
that's
deep sea
true.
fishing,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
some things like
yeah.
that got donated as well.
Well, and that's one of the advantages of partnering with Kicking Cancer, because yes, we could have tried to organize this ourselves. Not really, we wouldn't have, because those weekly Wednesday calls were important, because you're doing this on the side as a friend, like you're not doing it as official role, so you're volunteering. You don't always make the time to do it right. So with the weekly calls with Barron, but then he also sometimes would have these donations or leftover from other events. And so he was able to bring some of those in. We're not always able to do that as an organization now, but if there's resources and it benefits, then we will share, right?
Absolutely.
So it was really neat.
And people
That's cool.
really responded to the donations and the auction itself.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember how much was raised for?
I don't off the top of my head. Good
I want to say it was a
question.
little over $2,000.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll see, because then she did the huge ass garage sale. Again, another play on the word, but she had organized that, and so just in overall, we heard from her story that she was able to earn enough to be able to pay off the medical bill, which allowed them to get qualified for a loan and buy a house.
Yes.
So that was just the general overall thing. Because in her situation, the money, because she's a hairdresser, right? So she couldn't work. She couldn't stand.
Yeah.
And you're not getting any sort of sick pay or retirement from being a hairdresser. And so the money was really needed in that scenario, especially with them having to go up to OHSU.
Well, I think they were living in Monroe at the time.
Exactly.
So they
and
were
they needed to move.
Oh, that's a...
quite a
Yeah,
ways
yeah.
south of
Yeah.
Corvallis.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get a little closer to home.
Yeah, they needed to move out of that place and move somewhere else. So I think that was like not knowing how to raise money for a friend who really needed it. It was hard.
Yeah.
It was like we weren't sure what to do, and then you came with the solution. And it wasn't like you brought the money, which was awesome. Like, that's not what Kicking Cancer's about. We
Right.
don't bring the money. We create the place so that you can
Create an environment.
Create an environment. Yeah. And that was so relieving as someone trying to help a friend on a cancer journey.
Yeah.
Well, and you've watched Rachel since then, and how much better she's done each time,
Totally, yeah.
and how she's gotten involved with you down there in the Corvallis area.
Yeah. She helped with our most recent event. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
So
it
it's like
was-
come for full circle.
Totally. And it was a really neat perspective, too, because I would consult with her saying, okay, so you've been on the recipient end of this. How does this feel? Like what we're doing here? And she could give that unique perspective with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, the
That's
other
special.
The other story where you're telling me that I thought was so interesting was you had come up right after Thanksgiving to an event that was happening here in Salem. I think it was like a holiday bazaar, craft type items that were there, and I had a small amount of shirts, so I had a little booth there. But I think you came up with Rachel to that event.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, great. Because they were doing their diaper business.
Yeah.
They were trying to expand it. So Julianne and Rachel came up for that.
And as you were driving home, she had commented that she didn't know anyone who had cancer.
Forgot about that one. Yeah.
So it really
didn't
Rachel kind of pulled
Oh,
things.
that's right.
you know?
Yes.
She had driven up there, and she didn't know at that time that she had cancer.
Right.
And she
That's
just was
crazy.
so surprised with this organization that would try to help people who had cancer.
Yeah.
And she looked at you or who, but she
Yeah,
just made
yeah.
the comment to someone. She's like, wow, that's amazing because I don't even know who has cancer.
Little did she know.
Little did she know. So,
Yeah, really fun. Yeah, we created Go Team Rachel. That's what we called it at the time. The Go Team Rachel had a Facebook page for and a way to just keep people updated too, which
Yeah.
is nice too. You know, when you
Yes.
get a family member or friend that you're trying to figure out. It was before, I guess there's apps that do that now, but we weren't familiar with those. And so how do you keep family members and other people informed on what's going on?
Yeah.
And that was one way to do it.
That became very helpful to have that Facebook page.
Yeah, totally
to
did.
show
Yeah.
things up.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, well, and then I think it was about a year and a half or 2 years ago, a spot came up on the board, and I was looking for someone that could help on the support, be a support director. We just have to ask if you wanted to get involved in that. And so we sat down together about a year ago and began to go, how do we form communities? How do we make those things work? And then we made a drive to Bend and sat down over there with Cindy. And so what are your thoughts on that trip to Bend and how that's developed over there in the Bend area?
Yeah, it's pretty wild to think from when you and I were just penciling out in a Dutch Bro, coffee shop and saying, okay, what could we do from, like, what would we need? How can we make sure they're going to be successful? And, you're just taking a guess. I mean, it's how you create anything is you're just like, okay, there's a blank canvas. I got to start with the paint somewhere.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of laid a few things out. Then we got feedback from the board of how a community would roll all together. But then because we kind of talked about this, I was kind of the first unofficial community in Corvallis because we were close enough to get support from Salem.
Right.
But we weren't really a community. But it was the first time that something had happened without Barron having to do it all.
Yes.
Without having to have Salem so involved in it.
Right.
Yeah.
We could utilize more resources. So I knew that, I thought, like, well, hey, I know this is possible because I've done it.
Yes.
So how do we help Cindy over in Bend do it? And that first couple of times going over there, I'm not somebody who drives a lot, so that's kind of was a big thing to go over. My car isn't even meant for driving. My life's very local in Corvallis, but
kind of just stay on the farm.
Exactly. When we go past the stop sign, it's a big day, right? It's like, woo, we're going to town. So it was a big thing to do that. But Cindy was gracious. She hosted me at her house, and we went over for a couple of events to just introduce people and say, hey, Kicking Cancer is. This is what we're doing. So she invited all of her community members,
I think
different
like 15 people at that first event.
B&I group, and she goes, this is what I'm committed to doing. People came around. There's people she knew from various places. Yeah, there's about 15 people in her living room.
Yeah.
And we just talked about what Kicking Cancer. Of course, as a new community guide, she didn't know how to talk about Kicking Cancer.
Right, yeah.
So she needed us to talk about it.
Right.
Set the path, if you will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she's still learning, right? So that's the duplication process that I think was so great. We're able to help her and bring that legitimacy to it and like, hey, this is what we've done. This is where we are. This is the kind of support. And
we got a slideshow to show some pictures of things that had happened so they could, the people in bed could see legitimacy to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of a track record from there, and it was really neat to support Cindy then through her first event too, because again, I was remembering when Barron would call me every Wednesday, so I'm like, okay, how do I duplicate that and call her every Wednesday? And it wasn't Wednesdays, but it was be that weekly check-in, and they just went off to the races with their events to the point that I was like, wow, I don't even know what's happening over there. So that's great
because they did an educational event.
Yeah.
And I think they had a space laid out, and they had several vendors and all kinds of alternative options that were there for you.
Oh, that's
Yep,
cool.
they
Like
did
what does
A
Mickey
wellness
call
fair
it?
or
Like
something?
almost like a go-to team.
Yes,
Go-to
exactly.
team.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Cindy's very much that way too.
Okay,
yeah.
that's cool.
Now, did you go over for that one? Did you go over to
Not for that one.
Okay.
No, I did it for the kids. There was just a community tabling event that we went over for to introduce Kicking Cancer to the community, and so we went for that one.
Okay.
It was at the local high school, so it was neat, good connections, really. But really brought our systems over, like even the little core sheet flyers that I made a while ago of like this is what you can do. Use these core sheet flyers, and like it's just helpful to have a plug and play system in that way. Not that we have it all figured out, and there's definitely more we learned along the way, and so it's just fun to see. It's fun to see it come in fruition from that little piece of paper to that actually happening.
Yeah.
And somebody over in Bend, the family was supported, and it happened.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then they do their first Go team where they actually helped somebody out over there, and you and I were both involved in those conversations with Cindy, and and I think that lady is actually down in Arizona now. She had somebody to help her get to Arizona. her body was going to do better in that arid
Yeah. That
environment.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
climate.
like Brenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's
That
just
makes
been
sense.
amazing to see how these have all kind of been piecing together, right?
Yeah, I'm really excited about any next community that we like. To find the guide is the key. Who's the guide? Because this is an unpaid position.
Right.
It's a labor of love. It doesn't mean that has to take all their funds out of their own pocket, but there is something they have to be motivated by. And,
Right.
And Cindy was the perfect person because she loves educating. She was like, next time you open a community, I'll come talk for you. And like
that's
she wants to
cool.
go on the road and talk about kicking cancer. It's like so she's like, it's really good that. And then she also had helped her mom with the cancer journey.
Okay.
And knew some tips and tricks. And so you have to be passionate about that.
Yeah, you kind of almost have to have your why. You have to have a
Totally
big
your
why behind
Totally
it.
your
And
why,
that
yeah.
became Cindy's mom became her why,
For sure.
and then showed people that there were better ways to take care of the cancer than all the poisons that were going to be put in your body.
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
And so for
yeah.
her, the education piece was huge.
It's
Yeah.
my favorite piece too.
And
Yeah.
that's just such a big deal for her as the education piece.
Yeah, yeah.
And she had one that was a potential go team. And this is the interesting part is if the person who's in that situation doesn't really want the spotlight on them, then it's not a very good go team.
It makes it difficult, yeah, for sure, because
Right.
you're bringing in their friends and family, you're highlighting them, you're honoring them. So yeah, that could be
Yeah.
a problem.
And that was what the case with this first person was they really didn't want the whole spotlight on them, which is fine.
Right.
You know?
That's totally
I mean,
okay.
whatever we can do to help, but if we can't, then we respect that. And that was kind of hard on Cindy to realize that she wanted to help and she couldn't.
Yeah, should
You know?
yeah.
So then I said, well, shift gears, shift to what you do, what you are passionate about. It was the education she was passionate about, and it was a perfect shift for Cindy to go to the education side.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she said, well, hey, we just had another person that popped up. Maybe we can help this one out. And so it just said help one more that she was able to do over there in the bed area.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
we've learned a lot of just like nuances too, because you've done so many. How many go teams have you done? I've done so many of them.
I think we're at like 20 or 21.
Exactly.
And they're all different. Everyone's
and
different.
everyone's different.
Very.
And that's what we couldn't quite get. Like we can't write a handbook for that yet.
Yeah.
Of how to deal with it. And so we really needed your expertise in all of those, deciding what to do, what not to do, who to get involved. Is this a good go team? Will everybody be happy at the end?
Right.
We're not trying to heal everybody. We know that's not our goal, but can we work together as a
Yeah.
team?
And
you
build
really have to assess-
build a community around
Around.
the situation.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that was the key.
Yeah. Totally.
So, well, we're not going to have time to get deeply into it, but I think that's what pulled together your most recent one is the community wanting to get involved to help out.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just one person this time. It was 3,
Yeah.
right?
That's cool.
Yeah.
And we'll give you a
Okay.
lot more time in the second half. But how did those 3? How did you know those 3 people?
Well, I was just going back to you got to have a why to do something like this. And I was like, what is my why? I was like, what is it?
What am I doing this
And
for?
exactly. What am I doing it? But people call me the connector, right? So I'm often connecting people with things and places and good people and whatnot. Well, one of the things we do at our farm is we have an urban farm venue, and we have a weekly farm stand and market. It's a community event in South Corvallis, and we've been doing it for we just finished our 11th year. And that pace, all 3 of these individuals were part of that market at some point.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
Cool.
so that was the common thing, and I had heard that Ben and then Ben had helped out with various logistics events. He's a builder, so he had made some A-frames for some events that we had been using, and then John has played at the music, and Mark had been a builder, but he has also been a vendor there too.
Okay.
So that's how I knew all those 3 people, and when I heard about it, and then with my kicking cancer hat on, I'm like, okay, we should really do an event.
Yes.
This is silly. We need to do an event. We need to do an event.
Because you knew that all 3 of them had something
Exactly.
going on.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'll tell more about that later, how
Yeah.
it came together.
So we get in the second
Okay,
half, we'll talk
perfect.
about what you did and what
Yep.
came out.
Perfect.
Okay, so huge shout out to Oddmost Pizza, you guys. Absolutely amazing pizza. Best pizza in town. Their wings are phenomenal. They've just added mac and cheese to their menu as well. So go check them out. There's salads, pastas, all of it.
The whole meal's
It's
good.
amazing. It's amazing. But the barbecue chicken pizza.
That's your new favorite.
It was a good one. It was a really good one. Okay, we'll be right back. You guys stay tuned.